This topic is on procurement, and it is divided into 3 subtopics, which is the first one is on purchasing, the second one is on receiving, and the third one is on storing and also inventory. So first we'll look at purchasing. So what is purchasing, or in other words you can also call it as a procurement. So procurement is actually the process of getting the right product at the right time, at the right place, and at the right price. So you're talking about the right product, means that what are you going to buy? So you have to be very specific of the items that you have to buy. It cannot be too vague. When you do a product specification, you have to know exactly the items that you are going to purchase. And at the right time means here, when do you want the items to be delivered to your place? Either it should be delivered every day, or it should be delivered once or twice a week. It depends on the operation. And at the right place, where do you need the items to be delivered? Whether you want it to be delivered to your operation, or you yourself will collect it. And the last one, at the right price. This one is important because you have to negotiate the price. Some items may be cheap, but then you have to look at the quality. If it's cheap but the quality is not that good, then you might have to consider your options. So what are the importance of purchasing? Number one is that food items are perishable. So always remember that the food items it can spoil very fast, especially perishable food items. And so here it means that whenever you purchase, you have to make sure that the items that you purchase are in good condition. If they deliver your items in not so suitable condition, then your food items might deteriorate really quickly. The second one, profitability depends on purchasing. In here, you can relate it to the price of the food item that you purchase. So always have to go and look at what is the current price of that food item. If you can get it at a cheaper price, then you can increase your profit. Number 3 is guest satisfaction. So you always have to make sure that your food items are always available. Your guests would come to a restaurant expecting you have the menu. If you have that menu, they expect when they order it, they are able to get it. But if you do not have the ingredients, then your guests will be dissatisfied because they are not able to order that food or that particular menu. And number 4, money can be tied up with improper purchasing. So once you have already commit buying a certain food items, then your money is already tied into it. So you have to make sure that you really purchase the right items with the right price. And the last one is that purchasing starts the entire process of operation. So without purchasing, you will not have receiving, you will not have a production, and ultimately you do not have an output. So purchasing activity starts with the product specification. When you want to start purchasing, you have to have a product specification, which is linked to the process of menu development. So what is product specification? Is whereby you will list down the details of the items that you need. So this will include the price that you expect from the food, the quantity, and also characteristic of the food item that you would like to purchase. So here's a definition for product specifications. It is a detailed description of a product stated in terms that are clearly understood by both buyer and seller. So both buyer and seller must understand that specifications. If it's too vague, if it's not clear, then the seller might give you a different product. So it must be clearly understood by both parties. It is time consuming and labor intensive, but critical in standardizing purchasing, food production, and quality. So when you say time consuming, yes, making a food product specification can take a lot of time. But at the same time, if you do not use that product specification, then you've already wasted your time and also the labor that it's been put when coming up with the product specification. So once you have a product specification, make sure you stick to that product specification. So these are just some of the general guidelines for effective product specification. You have the product name, for example. If you say you would like to purchase an apple, then you have to be it must be clearly stated whether it is a green apple or a red apple. And then a red apple would have a lot of variety, whether it's you know, Gala apple or Macintosh apple. So you have to be very specific. And then the second one, for example, is intended use. Whether you're going to use it for a certain cooking, for example, if you are going to use it in a pie, a closed pie, then any types of apples would do. But if it's an open pie, you have to make sure that your apple is the variety that still can maintain its shape after it's been baked. So another other specification will include brand or package brand, the grade, the size, point of origin, packaging procedure, degree of ripeness, and also approved substitutes. So specification must also include test procedures such that when product is received, employees can objectively assess it for quality, quantity, and density. So when you have a product specification, make sure that the receiving personnel they also have a copy of it, and then they can actually measure or they can actually check on the food product. And lastly, special instruments or requirements which might include how a product must be handled. In this specification, you also have to include, for example, maybe you would want it to be delivered in a certain temperature. If it's a cold temperature, if it's a fruit, maybe you would put in the product specification, you would want it to be in a chill temperature. Okay, that is the end of part 1 for this topic. I'll see you in the next topic. Thank you.